1998 Acura Integra DC2 Type R. And I've actually reviewed this previously on the channel, but the owner, Kevin, has made a few updates and tweaks to improve the car even further. For those who don't know, I actually met Kevin at Buttonwillow Raceway. I was assigned his instructor just by chance, and he said, hey, I watched you on YouTube, and I reviewed his DC2 Type R at Buttonwillow that day. And that was the day I changed my mind about front-wheel drive. It was this exact car that showed me front-wheel drive can actually be cool, because since the 90s, when I was a kid, I used to always think that front-wheel drive was the compromised option and never as good as rear-wheel drive. And I realized that front-wheel drive done properly can be an absolute blast. Kevin also owns this Carrera GT, which you can actually find linked below. That was also a special review. I think that tells you a lot about both who Kevin is in terms of driving pleasure as a priority rather than being a flex enthusiast, but also how good the DC2 Type R is even in modern day. Because unlike a lot of modern front-wheel drive vehicles, this thing still has a lot of that passion, that Honda golden era spark and emotionality that I think it's a lot harder to find today from any front-wheel drive vehicle, Honda or otherwise. The DC2 Type R is powered by the B18 C5 engine. It's a 1.8 liter inline-4 dual overhead cam with VTEC, making 195 horsepower, 130 pound-feet of torque with an 8,400 RPM redline, mated to a 5-speed manual transmission. We do have an LSD. The car originally weighs in right under 2,600 pounds, 2,577 to be precise, but Kevin, with his mods, has gotten this down to just under 2,500 pounds, so around a 100-pound weight saving. We have double wishbone, both front and rear. You don't see that anymore in any front-wheel drive vehicles. And there is an extensive mod list. You can see that down below as always. But the key things I want you to know, number one, he updated the coilovers. We now have Nitron R3s, higher spring rates. He changed the brake compounds. He updated the steering wheel, added this Mugen intake, which he got for a pretty penny to help with the induction note, kept the stock exhaust. And to date, this has been one of my all-time favorite front-wheel drive driving experiences. I really think DC2 Type R and EK9 are peak Honda for front-wheel drive. Actually, peak front-wheel drive from any manufacturer. And we have a super simple interior as well. No gimmicks. It gets the job done. The shifter is really down low here, which is, you know, ergonomically, this harkens back to the era of the 90s when it's from. Ergonomics are quite a bit different now. We don't have as much space here. You sit pretty upright. No telescoping to the wheel, but we do have tilt. God, that thing sounds so good. $8,400 RPM redline. Wow, taking a great car and making it even better. You gotta keep the revs up above VTEC, which is around 6K. Otherwise, these engines, as you know, there's not much mid-range or low-end torque. That's a feature, not a bug. It encourages you to rev it out, and these things are high-strung in a way that's just so intoxicating. It's part of the emotionality, part of the experience. Yeah, these coilovers are a big step up. You have a lot better body control here. You're able to feel quite a bit through the chassis still. This is an older chassis, not quite as stiff, but still a good amount of communication here. I think the steering is actually notably improved as well due to the suspension updates. Oh, we get on the brakes. Oh, that's actually quite bouncy right there. Kevin, again, tracks this. That's the first time we met, right? So he wanted to stiffen things up and make it a bit more optimized for track work. You are going to pay a little bit of a price, though, on the street. The ride is definitely choppier now than it was before, but the body control is substantially better. The car feels sharper, too. The steering, the feedback for a front-wheel drive, for any car, front-wheel drive or not, is phenomenal. hydraulic rack. There's a tightness to the steering now, and there's less of that, you know, right off centering. It's like a little bit light and then it starts fighting. There's less of that. Ooh, brakes are super grabby. In fact, maybe a little too grabby, because the brake pedal itself is very light. So as you get in on it, it stops you all of a sudden so forcefully, and it doesn't require much pressure. It's much more about position than pressure, this brake pedal, which is actually making heel toe require much more of a learning curve. As challenging as people say the Carrera GT is to drive, I was able to heel toe rev match in that way easier than this, just because of the brake pedal sensitivity. See right there, you have to really be careful on the brakes when you jab the throttle, otherwise you're gonna be not smooth with your braking force. You gotta be very mindful of that brake application. Now in the Carrera GT, my buddy Fenton must be driving that at like 3/10 right now. Here, you're able to push it 6/10 on the street, because that's the slow car fast mentality. And that engine, it's like a nest of angry bees. I love these older Honda engines. Yeah, but now we have not just the sharper steering, but also improved feedback through the wheel. You can really feel so much, because we don't have that much power and torque through the front axle. You're not corrupting the steering. It's a very pure signal. Let's keep our distance and not rear end a $2 million hypercar. And you gotta love that double wishbone in all four corners. I wish we had that still in modern day. There we go. Starting to get the learning curve on this brake pedal. But with that double wishbone, you just have, you know, it's not going to push as readily as so many other front-wheel drive cars. Honda no longer does that. They haven't done it in so long. And I get it, packaging, safety, cost, etc. There are reasons why. But it makes you appreciate this era even more, because there are things you just simply cannot get today. This naturally aspirated B18 C5 engine, the way it builds, even though it is so much down on power, the communication, the visceral nature of the driving experience here is unlike what you get in modern day cars, like the new FL5, DE5, FK8, etc. Even if the performance is, I don't know, 2/3 of what they have, maybe even less than that, right? The fun factor, I would argue, is 2x. For those who've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I respect the DE5, FL5, FK8, and so on. I would never own one myself. I might own one of these, because those cars feel like, you know, they want to give you that practicality, the 4 doors, your daily, your sporty, your fun, your everything. But this, it's just unapologetically optimal front-wheel drive magic and fun. This is peak Honda. Peak Honda. This, EK9, S2000, NA1 NSX, peak Honda. You can double clutch it like that, no learning curve, natural throttle response. It's really Honda and Porsche, the two manufacturers that I think have the best input calibration of any manufacturers. It's so natural, there's no learning curve. Again, the brake pedal here is an aftermarket mod that has made it way too grabby, I would argue, at least for street use. On track, maybe it's more manageable, but even still, because it's so a light force on the pedal, I'd argue that even there, it might actually make the car harder to drive, and you can't quite modulate the brake force as readily as you trail brake, because with front wheel drive, you want to, you know, get the weight over the front, rotate the car, use that to get the rear end out. But, you know, the how notchy and modern the shifter feels, even though it has these longer throws compared to modern cars, the steering precision, even though it's a slower ratio than modern cars, the pedal box, all three of them have longer throws than a lot of modern cars, because that's what was normal at the time. but it just feels so natural, so right, so easy. Seem to be doing some kind of like police run this whole morning where they have people running on the street and then police cars in front and behind, which for whatever reason is necessary. And that was not safe at all. So I love the license plate on the Carrera GT. It says peak car. So true. So fitting. Truly peak car. That's peak all car. This is like peak front wheel drive car. Yay. Alright guys, let's inconvenience all the drivers so we can run on a road, even though we can also run elsewhere. Because fuck other people's time and what other people want to do. We are more important. Yay, good job guys. Great, fantastic. We gotta do our photo op now. Let's forget other people's time and what they want to do. It doesn't matter, we are more important. Our processes and our photos are the top priority, and you as civilians do not matter. I'm sure this is for some important reason or some good cause, but you know, you can do this in a way that is considerate, right? That doesn't inconvenience everyone. The same way when you're on a plane, you don't have to be blasting YouTube videos and reels on your phone. You can wear headphones. You know, there's ways to do things to not inconvenience others. Now, one final thing I want to talk about is the way that we approach and appreciate cars. I really like what Kevin, the owner here of both the Carrera GT, this Type 2, and some other cars we've driven on the channel, including GT3 RS 4.0, and some others. You know, when you approach cars through the lens of pursuing an experience rather than just pursuing spec sheets, you end up with a very unique, eclectic garage that all gives you a compelling and emotional and visceral and exciting driving experience. And I very much appreciate, and I have similar taste to Kevin, you know, the kinds of cars that we like tend to beat you up a little bit more rather than being very refined. And it's great that he likes to share this with you all. And you know, I hope that through these videos, I'm fortunate now, thanks to you guys watching this channel allows me to keep doing this. And I hope that I'm able to share, bro. The level of like forethought, like why not come, you could have just done it blind, dude. Guys, we can be better, all right? We can be better. Let's use our heads a little bit. We have it there for a reason. But going back to what I was saying, I hope that these videos can at least give a little bit of insight and experience as to what these cars are like to drive. And that's my goal here with the POV, the binaural mics. You put on headphones, it feels like you're in the car. Because I want you to be on this journey with me and to experience these cars as closely as I can help you feel them. And I do want to say thank you, truly. It has been an absolute dream being able to do this for the last 4 years now. And some peak experiences in my life behind the wheel through this channel, thanks to you guys. And it's a pretty niche thing, actually, the pursuit of driving pleasure, being a driving enthusiast more so than a car enthusiast. I didn't realize how niche it was until I started doing this. And it's been so fun meeting you all, connecting with you guys. And here's to many more future experiences. I love this DC2 Type R. I think the improvements Kevin has made have improved it even further, except the brakes. I am gonna die on this hill that even though the brakes are technically more competent, the overall input quality is now a little bit, anyways, I've already spoken about that. But such a peak front-wheel drive car. And my friends, thank you all so much for watching, for letting me do this, and truly, much love to you all. I'll see you in the next one.